Okay, have you heard the one where I got stitches in my private of privates, my holiest of holies? This will be a story that will leave you in stitches. Okay, I'm sorry. Well, it happened when I was in Texas. I had a couple of friends, and I think it was one of those days where you had like a half day and then you didn't have to go back to school. I had to have been like 16. I was like an older teenager. And a couple of my friends, one female, one male, and we decided in Fort Worth to go to what is called the Water Gardens. So if you're familiar with downtown Fort Worth, then you'll know about this. What it is kind of this outdoor park made of total concrete. And it's actually very beautiful, very zen-like. But everything is kind of angular and then waterfalls are coming through it. So we thought this would be a nice thing to do at the end of our day during the week to go check out the water gardens. So all three of us went, and we're kind of like mingling around, doing, I don't know, teenage stuff. I had an audition for the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. I remember this. It was one of those like just massive auditions where it's probably not where they're really hiring someone. That's beside the point. I decided I was going to audition for the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, and it was like in a day or two. So this was me practicing my morphin skills, my Mighty Morphin Power Ranger skills. I'm running around this like water garden, and I decided to do the ultimate move. So it's like this jump, and I was a dancer at this time. So you're like one leg is out this way, and one leg, and you're like wah, like hi, like karate, and I'm like flying through the air, and I'm like wah, and then I go like this, pow, right into like an edge of this, like I guess it's just like a seat. I don't know. It was made of concrete. I didn't have a lot of pain, surprisingly. I was on the ground, and it was the water gardens. So like I'm like, oh, I must have sat in some water, and so I went like this, and it was blood. So little did I know, your holiest of holies bleeds just about as much as your freaking head. So I start bleeding profusely. So this is a fall day, not in any pain. And I had jeans on. I remember they were dark jeans, and I had a black sweater wrapped around my waist. And we were like kind of separated. And so I'm like, hey guys, I think there's a problem here. And they're like, holy crap. So we get into the car, and of course, my girlfriend at the time only has a two-seater, and as teenagers, you don't care. But now I'm bleeding profusely out of the like nether regions, and so I'm sitting on this guy's lap, and I didn't know, but they were high as a freaking kite, both of them. So they didn't take me to the hospital. They took me back home, and this is when I was living. I believe it was with my dad, but I think my mom was like, she was around because I do remember they like dropped me off at home, but nobody was there. And I go into the bathroom. They jump. They're gone. I don't even know like where they went, but they like hightailed it out of there. Luckily, when we were pulling up and I'm passing out almost, I like come to my dad Al comes, and I run into the bathroom because I'm like trying to figure out where I'm bleeding from. And I take the sweater off, it's soaked. I take my jeans off, they're soaked. My socks are soaked, everything is soaked. I think it'd be a great idea to get into a nice, warm, hot bathtub, just so I could figure out where the blood's coming from. So I strip down, and I'm making a bath to sit into this hot bath, like basically to just die. And Al like comes barging in, and I'm modest, but I was not modest at that point. I'm like, I don't know. He's like, what happened? Are you bleeding out your ass? I don't, he makes jokes when, he's stressed out. And I'm like, I don't know. It looks like I've been stabbed. So we go to the hospital. I leave this bathroom a bloody mess. My mom comes home to that. And this was before cell phones, but we somehow got in touch with her and told her that I was not murdered, and she met us at the hospital. I do think that there's something to be said for different parts of each individual's body that is almost like has a gravitational pull. My, like, I guess, reproductive organs have always, throughout my whole life, until recently, been bombarded by just attacks like infertility, this weird incident, anything that ever really wanted to congregate into my system would congregate there. And it's like Max. Max, it's his eyes. And I'm like, so you have to think about the emotional components and the spiritual components to that. So for Max, it's like, well, what don't you want to see? Why is it this gravitational pull that goes to your eyes? And coming into, my faith and figuring that out within my own body, I do believe that it's my root. It's my part of my body that is the foundational part of who I am. It's most people. That's where we found our solid foundation to stand on. And so if early on in my life it can get like attacked, that's probably the easiest way for me to like go off in the wrong direction. So I make it to the hospital. They think it's hilarious. Like the nurses are bringing in everybody. They're like, we should send this into the ER show. I'm like, hilarious. And they have to put 3 stitches, right down there. Now, I don't think they numbed me because the stitches did hurt. And they didn't give me the stitches that kind of just absorbed or like dissolved. I had to go back in there and get them removed. I think they thought it was hilarious. I found it kind of funny too. Once I knew that it was not a major, severe issue, jokes started coming from people. So my grandmother, gotta love my grandmother, this is my family, guys, said, no comparing wounds now, no comparing scars. Who's gonna lick your wounds? Thanks, Grandma. And then we've got my dad, Al, who, why would you bleeding out of your ass? Well, that was one thing. But then he called me Frankenpuss. So this is my story. I don't even know what to say about it, but the only time I got stitches